I have a construction background. I was a drywall taper. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but if you've ever seen people smear mud on walls with a pan and a knife, that's what I did for 7 years, And when I got into this space, I was a single father. I'm blessed right now with an amazing woman in my life, but when I got into this, that was not the case, right? My life was not looking good, I guess you could say. I was going through a pretty difficult divorce, but like at the end of the day, I was starting to open my eyes up to where my life was heading. There's nothing wrong. I was making decent money doing drywall. There's nothing wrong with physical labor. There's nothing wrong with a 9-to-5 job, but like I was not present for my kids. I was not able to be there. I missed a lot. I wasn't happy. I wasn't enjoying life. And I was just in a very dark place and I needed a change and I didn't know where to go. I started researching online businesses, right? Found out about Amazon and the model like really made sense. Like I'm sure it did with all you guys once you figured it out. That's why y'all are here. And, I decided to take a leap of faith, right? I invested into a mentorship and, I never talk negative about anybody but I invested a whole lot of money into somebody that I found out never sold anything on Amazon. And at the end of the day, I never even got to talk to after spending a lot of money. But I say that the relationships I made inside that community have been amazing. And so I never will say I got scammed. I will never say anything like that. Because also I gained enough knowledge to do $15,000 my first month. So I got the knowledge to get started. And I was bullheaded enough to learn the hard things the hard way and push through it, right? I took off quickly, outlearned, I guess, the place that I was in. It got to a point where I was kind of like teaching the other members in there, and I got actually kicked out of there because I found out something about one of the mentors and they didn't like I found out. But anyways, I got taken out of there and it really hurt. I don't know how to say that really any other way, but because when I got started in this, I was laughed at, right? I was a 29 or 30 year old, I guess 29 when I started getting into this, construction worker with 2 kids, making over $100,000 a year working. What am I doing? What in the hell am I doing, right? Everybody's just, and it's online money, right? I live in the middle of Missouri. Nobody even knows about ChatGPT yet. Everybody was doubting me, but at the same time, the people who love me were just kind of giving me love, right? They were worried, not necessarily doubting. But on the other hand, that's all I was able to take it as. I didn't have people to share my experience with, nothing. But I went through a lot of struggles when I started. My store got shut down. I was doing RA only when I started. Luckily, I had a very good virtual assistant who is still working with me to this day, who I had found by someone in a community that I was in. So again, everything comes full circle at the end of the day, right? If I never went in that community, met that person, I would have never had my VA Arslan now, who is a brother to me, right? And I got the Section 3, got shut down. He was able to maneuver to get me back open. And first of all, I got my Section 3 after I quit my job. So I was fully reliant on only Amazon. And then all of a sudden, my Amazon store was shut down. All my money was held. I had over $30,000 in inventory at Amazon. I had $15,000 in payments that were being held. And, I needed to pay rent and bills and all this stuff. And it was very difficult, but I look back at it now and it's the way my business operates now compared to what it was when I was doing arbitrage is night and day. I have an actual business now. It's before it was a side hustle, right? Whenever I came up, TJ Maxx was the first store that I really found momentum in. It's a dog cooling mat. And I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know that was a product that was even invented. And it sold thousands of times a month on Amazon. I was at TJ Maxx and I bought them out. I don't know how many they had, but I bought them out and I remember 5 of them sold before I even got to my truck. So it was okay, then it was okay, now how do I first of all get more of these? And how do I find more stuff like this that's gonna sell? So right when that happened and I found that first product that just moved, it was game on to me. And I remember when I started, I never sent in any invoices to get ungated. I was literally in the store, shelf from one end to the other, top to bottom, every single freaking item I could find. I'm scanning, requesting approval to get ungated because I'm trying to show Amazon that, yo, I'm here. You know, the algorithm, right? If Amazon starts seeing you're productive in your store, you're showing up, you're doing all these things, I call it like letting that leash loose, right? They all look at you like a little stupid puppy whenever we start. So I was doing anything and everything to just find stuff I was ungated in to start selling. But yeah, you know, it's been 4 years. I've sold over $3.5 million. And, you know, I do wholesale now, or brand direct as well. But, you know, like that section 3 I had, like that happened, and I'm like, I gotta tighten my ship up, right? Like I gotta keep things in stock, I gotta reorganize, everything's gotta be structured. So, you know, I built my foundation out with my business. I got set up to start getting into wholesale, and now my business kind of essentially runs with me in the background a little bit. You know, I have VAs that will do all of my supplier outreach. So like they have my sequences to landing accounts. They will use Smart Scout to find brands and stuff that are profitable, reach out to them, try to find suppliers that match up with those brands. And then once we get the account, we get the product sheet, my VA goes into my third-party profit software, and where we have a UPC scraper where they put together purchase orders for me. And then I go in there and I just review the purchase orders. And once they're accepted, my VA submits it to the supplier, we pay for it, it gets shipped to my warehouse where I have an employee who does all of my prep and everything and sends it in. So like now it's just like a well-oiled machine now. And you know, do I wish I would have learned how to do it that way right out the gate? 1,000,000% yes. But like on the other hand, I'm glad I went through it the way I did, because like I learned a lot about Amazon. You know, I like to think I'm pretty knowledgeable about how they operate a little bit. But you know, yeah, that's a bit about me. Like when I said when I started, had no time with my kids, and like me and my kids went on more vacations this last year than they've been on since they were born. You know, and like I always say, my biggest flex is I didn't have to have a babysitter at all last summer. And like that's the kind of stuff that like really matters to me, because I got 2 little girls, you know, and they need to like have a good father figure. And but yeah, you know, Amazon literally changed my life, like up and down. You know, I was like, it was crazy. I was looking at a picture. I just had an unfortunate passing of my family. I was looking at pictures, and like I saw a picture of myself 4 years ago whenever I started, and I'm just a completely different person, you know, and like I don't owe it all to this business, but like this business put me in a position to where like I can find myself and like give myself back to my kids, you know. So that's a little bit about me, I guess.